A moment later, Rosy Cheeks asked another question. I did not answer. My face uplifted to the sun, I feigned sleep. The annoying questions finally stopped. I was dozing, thinking about home, when I became aware of a strange droning noise. It sounded like it was overhead and seemed to be getting closer. At the sudden eruption of yelling and the chatter of machine gun fire, my eyes flipped open. "Polikarpovs!" someone yelled. Small Russian fighter planes were plummeting toward us. I could see the pilots in the open cockpit planes and the red-orange blasts of gunfire as they strafed our convoy. With resounding bangs, holes were punched in the metal of the trucks. Powder puffs of dust popped up from the road. The rosy-cheeked boy screamed and grabbed his face as hot liquid exploded from the back of his head, drenching me. "What do I do?" It was me that screamed this, as I frantically wiped at the gore on me. A munitions truck ahead of us ruptured and disintegrated in flames. Our truck veered wildly to the right. A tire blew. "Out!" screamed Jigsaw Puzzleface. Gripping the machine gun mounted behind the cab, Dobelman's entire body was vibrating as he fired at the planes. "Get out of the truck, boys!" he yelled again as the heavy vehicle cracked through saplings and slammed to an abrupt halt in a culvert. It seemed to take a century to get out of that truck. A few soldiers scrambled over the sides. I tried to go with them, but Jacob was pushing me from behind. I stumbled over the crates between the seats, then found myself in a logjam of bodies, a tangled crush of scared kids all trying to get out of the back of the truck at the same time. "Move!" I screamed the word in terror, pushing and punching, frantic to save myself, insane with anger at those in my way. Warmth spread down my legs. I realized I had wet my pants. An instant later, I was knocked, sprawling from the truck, and landed heavily, face first, on the hard ground. Its guns blazing upward, an armored vehicle rumbled past, spewing me with dust. I rolled away to where a number of infantrymen, all kneeling, filed their rifles again and again at the planes. The aircraft, which were quite small and clumsy-looking, streaked away, then made long, looping turns. "Here they come again!" a soldier wearing a mask of dirt yelled. He turned to me and in a confidential tone, as though he were telling me a secret, repeated, "Here they come." The Russian aircraft, I counted 4 of them, were diving at us with their guns blazing. I aimed my rifle skyward, excited at the prospect of firing at the enemy. I pulled the trigger. To my astonishment, nothing happened. "You've got the safety on, idiot!" someone sneered. By the time I had fumbled the safety off, the planes, one of them trailing smoke, had already zipped past and were now headed away. The battle, as quickly as it had begun, was over. I was so filled with disappointment at not having gotten off a single shot that it was a long moment before I turned my attention to the destruction the planes had left in their wake. A peculiar silence had settled over everything. Even the cries of men in pain sounded muted and unreal. I looked up and realized my legs were shaking. I turned in a circle, then leaned against a tree to keep from falling. Numbly I stared. A small fire had broken out in some brush across the way. One wounded man was crawling away from it. Others lay unmoving, singly and in clusters. Most of the trucks were scattered along the road, many of them damaged. One truck was continuing on alone, rolling slowly away down the sloping road, driverless, fully engulfed in flames, its burning tires going round and round like huge pinwheels. It continued on. Nearing the bottom of the hill, it turned on its own, flopped onto its side, then all but disintegrated in a single monstrous explosion. "That was really something, wasn't it?" a soldier near me whooped excitedly. "Yes," I said in a monotone, then wandered off amidst other survivors, feeling very strange and confused. Medics were taking care of the seriously injured, while those with minor wounds just sat there in a daze, waiting their turn. I noticed one boy sitting beside the road, blood from a gashed scalp, making it appear as though he were wearing a bright red wig. He was looking around. His eyes met mine, and I made my way to him. "My name is Eric," I told him, not sure why I was introducing myself. How's Kessler? He said pleasantly, not sounding at all pained or concerned about his wound. This is going to hurt a bit, Hals, I said, continuing to wonder at my oddly professional and authoritative tone. I gripped the splinter. I yanked, and a bit of metal about the size of a pencil stub slid free easily. A little souvenir for you, Hals, I said superciliously, handing him the bloody splinter. After bandaging Hal's head, I wandered off, feeling very self-satisfied, as if I were some great doctor who had just completed a very complicated bit of surgery. Glass crunched underfoot. I found myself headed down the road, examining bits of burning debris and oversized red pancakes of dirt and blood. Surprising me, a veteran shoved a spade into my hands. Get to work! He gestured with his head toward a shallow ravine a short distance from the road. Spade in hand, I made my way to where a detail of soldiers was working about the lip of the ravine, shoveling dirt onto a bloody jumble of bodies on the bottom. Among them was a boy I had only known as Rosy Cheeks.